we got to get to some bigger stuff here, which are the three main Star Wars movies that we got to discuss.
Woof.
First one, woof indeed, my friend. First one being the Daisy Ridley returning for her new Rey Skywalker film. Go on, Chad. Tell me how you really feel, Chad.
They're backtracking on how the last one ended, where she buried the lightsaber. Sorry, my language. Sorry, bleep it out.
We were so close.
Sorry.
So close. Well, before you keep going, Chad.
I love the passion.
Before you could go on, Chad, let's read this article from Polygon, not from Movie Phone today. Daisy Ridley will reprise her role as Rey Skywalker in a new Star Wars movie set 15 years after the events of Lucasfilm's sequel trilogy. The new post-episode 9 Star Wars movie will be set in an unexplored era called the New Jedi Order, and Rey will be tasked with rebuilding the all-but-extinct Jedi. Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy revealed that the new Star Wars movie, one of the 3 newly announced theatrical Star Wars projects at Star Wars Celebration 2023 in London on Friday. Director Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, the director for Ms. Marvel, is helming the sequel to Rise of Skywalker based on a script from Stephen Knight, the guy who writes Peaky Blinders. Obaid-Chinoy was previously attached to direct a script from screenwriters Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson, but those two left the project earlier this year. Details on Star Wars' first New Jedi Order era movie are scant, but Rey is set to establish a new Jedi Academy and train a group of fresh recruits in the film. Lucasfilm did not announce a release date or any additional casting beyond Ridley. All right, Chad, go on. What else did you want to let us know?
Well, it's just like she buried the lightsaber and seemed up like she was walking away from the Force, so it's like, what, is she going to come back and dig it up and be like, hey, you know, I feel like starting it up again. And I guarantee, like, one of the first scenes is like, who are you? And she'll turn to the camera and just go, Rey Skywalker. And I'll just...
Rey Skywalker.
Rey Palpatine.
Ah, damn it.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Sorry, I'm just getting used to my new last name. Yes.
Palpawalker. Crap. No.
Oh, shit.
Okay, this is episode 10. Give me.
Is it though?
This is episode 10. They don't want to call it episode 10. I'm sorry, Chad. I didn't mean to.
Oh no. Go.
Yeah, no. This is. I thought we were trying to get away from this stuff. I thought we're expanding different places and different areas, and suddenly we're finding out we're gonna follow Rey. And let me just say really quick. The sequel trilogy has had its very fair share of issues. Daisy Ridley was not one of them for me. I thought she was charming. I like her too.
Yeah.
I had no problems with her. I had problems with other things in the.
It was all the writing that.
It was the writing
supported her. Yeah.
I really, in general, the cast, all the acting, everybody. I mean, I had no problem with any of them. It was like you said, Ted, all the writing and the back and forth, and nobody really having a plan for the overall trilogy. But Daisy Ridley was definitely not one of the issues for me. I thought she was a great standout.
Agreed.
So I'm happy to see that you know, that she's coming back as Rey, but at the same time, I thought we were trying to get away from this. And, you know, everybody's like, well, this is the end. This is the end of the Skywalker saga, right? And in a way that's true, but this is basically a sequel to that. Rey ended the Rise of Skywalker. We ended with Rey. And now we're going to pick up her story again. So even though we're not in the Skywalker saga anymore, although she calls herself Skywalker now. So technically, I guess we are. But we're still picking up her story. This is a sequel to Rise of Skywalker.
Yep.
Thus, I mean, it's an episode 10, but they don't want to call it an episode 10.
Ted, what do you think, my guy?
You know, when I was a kid, it was like they just had the 3 on VHS. That was all you could watch.
Simpler times. Simpler times.
The prequels, and everyone was like, yeah! And then it was like, oh, what the hell was that? And then we hated the prequels. And then, you know, the Clone Wars series came out in this interim where we had nothing on the horizon. And Clone Wars kind of lifted it up. And I feel like, I look back at the prequels now with a lot less disdain than I used to.
Same.
I think there are characters within that it's proven by Filoni that if you have a good story to tell, there's something to see there. The new trilogy, I don't feel that way, and I don't know if in 10 years my opinion will change, but I think like just based on the Mandalorian season 3, it seems like they were like, hey, Filoni, can you do what you did for the prequel trilogy for the new one? Like they're trying to already tap into like making the cloning thing with Snoke work out, and like, oh, Palpatine really was behind it the whole time. It just seemed out of nowhere, and like
somehow
just pulled it out of his ass. You know, it's just like so I don't know. I hope that I would love to see that happen, but right now the sequel trilogy is just I would love to just move on and focus on something else and not touch it, because it just seems like a casualty of bad writing.
I'd say that I came from the generation that started with episodes 1, 2, and 3, and
I'm sorry.
I don't like sand. Well, listen, like I don't. It's weird enough. I don't like sand, but I did like the trilogy of the prequel series, the prequel trilogy. I enjoyed it, and I grew up loving it. And when I got to like maybe middle school or high school, and I started hearing older kids saying, "Oh man, these movies suck," I remember thinking, what? Is that how everybody feels about this stuff? So it only goes to show that maybe the younger generation of kids that grew up watching this new trilogy love Rey Skywalker, and they love the idea of her. And now that we're hearing a new movie for this character, those kids who are probably like preteens now are like, oh my God, Rey's coming back. Yes, let's go.
And then they will be disappointed by those movies.
They'll be disappointed by the next trilogy, and then the cycle will continue.
It's almost a
the
rite.
way I remember.
It's almost a rite of passage, isn't it? Like each generation that gets into Star Wars at one point has that period where they're sorely disappointed by something, right?
Yeah,
it's a rite of passage.
Look at Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor was so depressed after he did episode 1, 2, and 3 because he thought everybody hated him and the whole prequel trilogy. And now that he went on and did the Obi-Wan series, he's going up in interviews telling people how surprised he is that all the fans that grew up watching his movies adore him and his prequel trilogy. So, you know, I'm sure Daisy Ridley's going to get the same amount of love from those fans as well. She's getting it from me because, again, as we all just mentioned, we love Daisy Ridley. Like we don't hate the actress, we don't hate the character itself. We hate the writing that made these characters the way they were by the end of this trilogy. However, I love the idea that Stephen Knight is going to be writing this, because I don't know if you guys have seen Peaky Blinders. That show is incredible. It's like Succession level great. So I'm
heard good things.
To me, if you give me Rey Skywalker again, sure, maybe our first initial reactions is going to be ugh. But then we see Peaky Blinders, and if they write this character really well, thanks to this Stephen Knight person, I think we have something really good to look forward to. And I think this is more of an exciting thing to me now than it is a, oh, here we go again kind of attitude. I just want Rian Johnson to stay away from it. That's all I want.
JJ, get out of here.
Get rid of JJ, get rid of Rian Johnson. They've done their time. They're done. Move on. You know.
I did hear a rumor of possibly the school she starts, they're going to have a teenage Grogu being training with her. And part of me, I was like, I don't want to see that. But also, if they were flipping it around and then Grogu turns evil and kills Rey, I was like, oh, that's a twist. That's a twist.
Well, that's what I was alluding to when you mentioned Yuuzhan Vong. I was alluding to hopefully we'll start cherry picking some legend stuff for this new Jedi Order. Instead of Luke, it's Rey forming the new Jedi Order, and we could very well see a Yuuzhan Vong possibly farther down the lines. That would be cool. That way we could get to a new threat rather than just the Empire in different forms coming back.
No, definitely. I think she's a great actress, and I hope these movies do well for her. So
I guess Grogu would be like 85 or something like that, right? Because doesn't the beginning of episode 7 take place like 30 years after, or is it 40 years after the events of episode 6?
I want to say 40, possibly.
I was gonna say 30.
30? So I'm just trying to do the math here, because Grogu is 50 in episode 6, basically, in that timeline. So 30 years later, now he's 80. Then 15 years more after the events of the new trilogy.
I mean, he'd be older than her, really.
So he'd be 95 years old. And
if he still doesn't talk, I'm gonna be mad. I was like, when does this race start speaking?
My God. Well, but also we don't know if he's gonna stay as a Mandalorian, so that's another thing. You know, he might be a little Grogu baby Mando type, you know, and have his armor all set.
I have a question that I want to pose to the group here, because I've been hearing speculation about certain things of the behind the scenes of this movie, because this announcement kind of caught a lot of people off guard. It came out of the blue, like, oh, Rey coming back, and a lot of people speculating about, well, why did
Ted is showing us a picture of baby Grogu with his Mando armor, and he looks pretty dapper, pretty dang dapper. Oh, everybody should Google it.
That's somebody photoshopped that, right? Yeah.
There's probably AI, yeah.
Probably some kind of AI. So the question being, why do we think Damon Lindelof maybe left the project? And wondering, is it possible maybe this movie started as one thing and maybe not involving Rey? And then maybe, and this is part of the speculation that I've heard that got me thinking. So I don't, this isn't anything solid.
You want to know
something? The speculation is that what if this started out as being something that wasn't involved without Rey being involved? And then someone stepped in and said, well, let's make it Rey. And then maybe Damon Lindelof was like, well, that's not the story I wanted to make. So if you're going to have, well, make it Rey anyway. Well, then I'm leaving. Thoughts? I don't know.
I think we're making assumptions in our heads of
it's
what
not.
it could
I'm
be.
Speculating.
It's because it's complete speculation. But
speculation that I've heard from other people.
Here's my speculation: is that once Bob Chapek left and Bob Iger came in to take over Disney, maybe new ideas came to hand, and maybe that's what they decided on. Because again, we can't know for sure. Sure. But we do know that Kathleen Kennedy is 100% known for firing writers and directors like a bunch before a project is ready to go. I hope this is the last time we get to see that, but this was something that I don't think we heard about them being on and off this project at all, because, you know, this just came up now. So they're like, okay, by the way, but we're going to announce something new, and as soon as we announce it, just want you to know we had other writers. We already got rid of them. We don't even want to deal with that later. We're not going to fire Stephen Knight. Fingers crossed. Please, baby Jesus, don't fire Stephen Knight. That would be incredible if they just kept him, because I think he's going to do a good job. Hopefully they just took care of business right from the get-go.
We'll need a lot of subtitles, though.
We will need a lot of subtitles. That's very true. It's very...
I watch everything with subtitles.
Yeah,
I do too.
Me too. Yeah, exactly. We're old people, right?
I like to know what's going on. I can see the characters' names.
I don't like it when they whisper. When they whisper, I don't hear what they say.
A lot of movies and TV shows nowadays, like the sound mix, I don't know. Sometimes
it's just
not
because
mixed very well, and
Peaky Blinders, their accents are so heavy.
Well, yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got the.
But is that the
accent.
writer or is that the director? Because I don't think that's a Stephen Knight thing.
No, I was just making a joke because, you know,
he was. Yeah,
although I think Stephen Knight is the director as well, isn't he?
Of Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna Google it. Hold on.
If anything, they should cast Cillian Murphy as the bad guy in Rey's movie.
He would be good.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I'd like to see Cillian Murphy in a Star Wars movie, actually.
Yeah. Definitely.
As a Sith Lord or something like that. That would be cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or just like an alien, you know, I forget what the like rogue company is, because there's Sith, there's Jedi, and then there's like this space pirate, you know, whatever that group is called of, you know.
Also,
like
Stephen
smuggler,
Knight,
bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Something.
Just a quick thing. Stephen Knight was not the director of the show, but he was the showrunner, which is a pretty big deal.
Right.
I guess
Well,
showrunner and writer. Yeah.
For a show, that's basically a director.
Pretty much, yeah, essentially. So it is his call for characters sounding muffly. With the British accents, they all talk like that. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Well then, gentlemen, any last thoughts on this one before we move on to our second movie?
No, just this, of the three, I'd say this is the one I'm looking forward to the least.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready for new stuff, and I feel like this is dipping back into the familiar. You know, but I don't know. We'll see as more info comes out about it. But it is, of the three, I'm the least excited about.